Hey, what's up, Every Warrior family? Trey McGuire here. There is no greater tool that you have in your possession that can influence the world around you than the power of your story. Recently, I had the privilege of being a part of what they call the Catalyst of Growth Summit that took place in Eglin Air Force Base area in Florida. Several service members in that area saw a need and they wanted to get together and create a place where their peers could come together and learn how they could grow to become the difference makers, the warriors, the catalyst for change. I was proud to be able to deliver this message at that summit. About 7 years ago, 2014-ish, 2015, we started a nonprofit organization called EveryWarrior.org, and our hope and our goal is to support, connect, equip, and mobilize the very core of every warrior. That is the point of what we do. I'm not here today to talk about what we do, but that's just a plug right there. You can go to our website, EveryWarrior.org, check that out. You can go to the App Store, you can download our mobile app. We want to help make sure you're taken care of. And today, I'm going to tell you why we want to help make sure that you are taken care of. That picture right there, the bison. As a storm is approaching, if you are watching the bison, they will turn and actually run towards that storm. Cows, other animals, other livestock, other wildlife, us will turn and run away from that storm. We want to help you understand, like they do, that as that storm is approaching and as they turn and run through it, they are minimizing the damage done. They're still facing the exact same storm, but as they are running towards that storm, as they're charging head on into it, they are going to get through it faster. What happens when you run away? You actually start running with the storm. Storm blew through Shreveport-Bossier last night or yesterday. By the time I got to Atlanta, on my flight out here, we ran through the storm as we caught up to it. I got hit by the same storm twice, actually 3 times. Once in Shreveport, once in the plane, and once in Atlanta, again, as it came back through. I'm going home tonight, and I leave here like 4:35 or whatever, and the Torcon thing, if you watch the Weather Channel, the Torcon thing is like 5 at home tonight. I'm like, that's encouraging. I'm going to run face first into that storm on an airplane tonight. Hopefully, if it's going to be that bad, they're smart enough to leave us in Atlanta. And I'll figure it out, get home safely. But we are designed naturally to have the fear and intimidation when we face life's storms that makes us want to get away from it. We don't realize, though, that when we face them, if we just face them head on, a lot of the stuff that we struggle with, a lot of the things that we deal with will be minimized a lot. Yes, it will hurt. It will hurt up front, but but the flip side of that is that we prolong the inevitable, which is facing it at some point in time, and by that time, it is much worse than we ever should have had to ever deal with. Following me? I want to ask you a question, though, and this is kind of funny. Speaking of cows, bison, livestock, what is one thing that all of those things do? They poop. Probably weren't expecting that. Yeah, they all take a big crap somewhere. One of the quotes that I love is that one of the prettiest plants I ever saw was growing right out of the middle of a pile of manure. Anybody in this room, and you don't have to raise your hand, but I do want you to be honest over the next 30 minutes with yourself. Anybody ever feel like you're just living in the crap show? Like your life right now, or has been, or is the crap show? If that's you today, I want you to press in a little bit. I want to tell a story, and if you want to go to that next picture. This picture was taken back in Christmas of 2017. I posted this picture on social media with this caption. This picture was taken Christmas of 2017. In it, I can honestly say that I'm joyful and happy, but this is not the first pic I took that looked like I was happy. So let's rewind about 4 years prior to this. During this time period, roughly age 27 to age 31 for myself, yes, I'm dating myself, I was trying desperately to dig myself out of a pretty dark place. On the outside, it all looks okay. I'm married, on staff at a church at the time, solid family around me, good friends, etc. Inside, I feel like I am dying. My dad's gone to prison. My mom has been sick. We lost 2 babies to miscarriage, add a 3rd one to that now. Everything I thought was normal was falling apart. I'm codependent, I'm a people pleaser, I'm angry, I'm severely depressed, I punch walls. Yes, I did that. And I feel alone. Alone in my thoughts, alone in my situation, just flat out alone. My wife sees it, my friends see it, my coworkers see it, but on top of the feelings, I'm working my rear end off to hide it all and hold it together, because that's what, at that time I was working for a church, that's what a good minister does, that's what a good leader does, that's what a good person does, that's what a good husband does, that's what a good wife does. You hide it and you push it all down. That's what a good NCO does, that's what a good officer does. Fill in the blank with whatever title you have. That's what you do. You push it all down, you hold yourself together, because you've got to be strong for everybody else. I'm assuming because you're sitting in a leadership conference, you want to lead people. And we do have the tendency to want to lead people with the, at the expense of the leader. I realized that was a big fat lie, by the way, and holding it together just multiplied exponentially the pressure that I put on myself. One fateful night, my beautiful wife, patient, loving, walked into our extra bedroom to find me sitting there with my loaded 12-gauge shotgun sitting in my lap. That night I learned what that shotgun tastes like. The pressure, the heartache, the hurt, the shame, I realized that, okay, I've royally screwed up, and I don't know how I'm going to get myself out of it. Again, I was running. I didn't want to face it. I didn't know, or I didn't believe that it was okay. And I was ready to end it all. Luckily, she walked in. Luckily, she walked in. I didn't feel as anybody else got it. I didn't want to fake it anymore. I didn't want to be a burden to anyone. I just wanted the pain to end. It was very real. So next slide, I want you to realize this truth right here. Your mistakes do not deserve the sacrifice of your mental, relational, physical, emotional, and or spiritual health. The things you've done, the boneheaded mistakes you've made, the whatever you feel, the mess that you might feel your life is right now, they do not deserve the sacrifice of these things in your life. Because guess what? These things are the things that are going to, that nobody else is going to fight for you more than yourself. Other people will fight for it, but they will not and they cannot fight more than you. Here's one of the problems, though. One of the leading causes of suicide today is the fact that people feel as if they have no safe place to open up and be completely seen. While I did go through the counseling, the getting help, the life changes, all that stuff, while I did go through all of those things, I'm telling you, the thing that saved my life was my wife and a few close friends. Was being seen. Was not being judged, was not, or it was being open. The word vulnerable means being in a position where other people can hurt you. It means expressing the sides of yourself about which you have the least confidence or certainty, and allowing others to respond to them. that is probably the weirdest feeling on the planet. That vulnerability, that legs shaking, deer in the headlights look, the feeling that I don't know what to do with myself. And I'm about to say something here that, you know what, is going to expose me. But guess what? Before you say it, a lot of the times other people have seen it. And they already know something's going on. And they just want you to know it. They want you to know that they know it, and they want you to know that they care about you. They are begging you to break down those walls and to be vulnerable. They're begging you to. Last night, I am sitting in the airport, and I'm the type, don't tempt me with a good time, and I'll charge hell with a water pistol, usually getting myself in trouble sometimes. By this time, my ADHD medication had worn off, because if I took it that late, I would not have slept last night. But I take medication, not ashamed. Where's my other ADHDers? A lot of them are probably back here ready to talk to you. But I get a phone call from a buddy of mine who is stationed now in Montgomery. And I kid you not, I had a 2.5-hour layover in Atlanta. I had just gotten to my gate for the next one. I'm sitting there waiting. And I kid you not, I almost went and got me a rental car and just drove to Montgomery and then drove down here this morning. I didn't, almost did. Why? Because he was not literally, but I could tell as I talked to him on the phone, everything inside of him was dying. And he was desperate for help. And he wasn't getting the help. Now, am I some sort of special thing or savior? No. But when my wife, who talks me back into reality a lot of times, helped me understand that even though that probably wasn't the smartest thing to do, was to just jump in a car and drive and all that and whatever, instead use my time wisely and probably go see him this weekend or something like that. All he needed and all he was needing was somebody to sit and look at him and tell him, I got you. Not it's going to be okay, not all the cliches, not all the platitudes and stuff that we say when we don't know what to do with people who are struggling, or we don't know what to say when we're struggling. He just needs somebody to sit there and love him through everything that he is going to face as he fights for his own healing. I get on my flight. I get to here, sitting on the airport, turned my phone back on, saw somebody posted something on Facebook, y'all pray for me, and I'm not gonna lie, this dude don't ask for prayer. He has never really believed in that. So I was like, okay, something is really going on if you're asking for prayer. Message him, he's overseas. His marriage is ending. Has no idea what's going to happen. I'm laying there last night and I'm missing my family back home, and I can't imagine being overseas and not being able to know what's coming when I come home in a few months and not being able to do anything. And I know that's real experiences that people in this room have probably experienced. Those are just two things that have happened in my world just in the past 12 hours. I don't share that to glorify problems. I share that to show two examples of people who were vulnerable, who realized that I don't even know what I'm looking for, but I just need somebody to care. And myself, who learned from experience that I don't know what I have to give, but I just care. So back to my post. You know what made the difference? I've already said this. People. I wrote this. You can go read it. People who paid attention to me and loved me deeply through the hell that was my reality. My wife was not scared of my suicidal thoughts. She simply didn't play games with me. She told me how it was, helped me get help, and loved and supported me like I've never seen. Anybody, any husbands in here have a wife that can beat you up? I do. I'm scared of her. I kid you not. I'm scared of her. She don't play. She don't play. I'm glad when we started the network that she was in nursing school and she wasn't really paying attention, because she likes details. And if I didn't have details and all of that, anyway, I ain't got time to talk about all that stuff. Our personalities are so opposite, it's not even funny. Opposites definitely do attract. But she and all of her type A personality that she was knew enough to know I don't have to say a word except just care. And by care, I mean just be there. Now, as time progressed, she walked out her giftedness, which is very strong, very independent. She don't need me at all. I'm married to her because she wants me. Sometimes I'm married to her because we signed a contract. And she just won't kick me out, thank God. But when we find the right people around us, this becomes reality. What saved me was the normal people that God himself used and placed right there in the thick of it with me. They didn't make me feel like I was crazy. They didn't make me feel like I was messed up. They ran in and were just there. Did I have to own where I was? Absolutely. Yes, that's another story for another day. No, it's not. You want to be the leader that people follow, and you want to know the number one way to face your storm? Own it. Own where you are. Own your mistakes. Fess up to your stupid, boneheaded mistakes, or own your hurt feelings, own your hard times, own whatever it is. And I promise you, in the long run, you will win when you own the mistakes that you make, big or small. And you will win because that will build integrity. And when you have integrity, and that's free, it's not even in these notes, that when you have integrity, you can face anything with anybody because your integrity goes before you and speaks a language that you can't even begin to. So why do I say all this? Why did I post this? What's the point of me standing up here today? It's because I want you to know that your feelings are okay. I want you to know that there are other people who have felt that way, and it's okay if you feel that way right now. I want you to know that there is restoration and healing that does exist on the other side of your greatest failures and your darkest and weakest moments. I want you to know that that it is okay to raise your hand and say, I am one of those people who have struggled, and I have thought things that I don't like thinking about. I have said things I don't like saying. I have made mistakes, and they have pushed me to a place where I don't even know how I got here. It is okay to raise your hand and say you're there or you have been there. Why? Because if you have been there and you've experienced anything like what I have, which is healing and growth, and you have now been given a story and a tool that is the greatest thing that I believe that we have to fight suicide. And yes, there is an epidemic going on inside the military, and there is only so much that leadership from the top down can do to fight it. If we don't respond, if we don't realize that our responsibility in it is to take our experiences, our stories, and use them to help other people. And it does not mean walking up on a stage and talking about it. Again, this has been brewing since 2017. Before that, and I'm going to go post it on Facebook, that had been brewing since 2014. And now, today, let's go to that next slide. When you get through hugging your problem to death, stand on it and preach from it. Today, well, at the time of this writing, my dad was still in prison. We were still struggled with the whole baby thing. Death had taken more from us in the past few years than we ever could think about. We were honestly in grief counseling every single week. I was on medication. The struggle was real, but the hope was real as well. Fast forward to today, like right now, February 15th, 2023 at 10:19, and I have 1 minute before y'all are supposed to ask questions. My dad has passed away. I've had to learn boundaries. I've had to deal with all kinds of coping and all that stuff. I've had to go through counseling. I still go to counseling. We have, antidepressants. I lost 3 friends just this past year. I'm 39, and I had to officiate 2 funerals. One of them was 42. The other one was 33, and next Friday, I'm officiating a funeral for a 27-year-old airman who got out of the military, went to be a cop in California, and got shot last September and killed. 3 of my friends, younger or a little older than me and 2 younger, that have died. But, my wife almost died herself back in 2020. But there is not a week that goes by that I don't get to sit and talk to some airman, some warrior, about something that's happened in my life. There's not a week that goes by. And you can throw all the programs that we do with the military and stuff, you can throw all that stuff out the window. That is why I do what I do. I have the realest relationships that I didn't even begin to think were possible. And let me just get practical there. And this is something I'm learning about military culture. One of my best friends, I don't know where he is sitting in the room, yesterday was the second time I've ever seen him in my life. I saw him face to face for the first time a little over a year and a half ago, probably. And we had known each other through some of the stuff that he had done through his own work as Chief Barnshaw, wherever he might be. We had known each other through some of the work that he had been doing as the network was growing and as his stuff was growing, Quarantine University, all that stuff. We connected. And we knew each other for probably 2 years before ever seeing each other face to face. So do not tell me that relationships have to be face to face or cannot survive distance or anything like that. Do not tell me that you have to be sitting next to the person that is your help. You might be, but they come in places where you never expected. I get to fight alongside the best team for your good. And the first time I ever met Jason Barnshaw, about a year and a half ago, this picture right here was taken because we were down here at the beach hanging out. That's my little girl. Now she's 2.5, 3 years old. That's my wife, who almost died giving birth to her. And that's me, and that smile is real. And it's not real because we finally got a kid. It's not real because of anything, any blessing that we got, other than the fact that we now have a story that we get to see used, and I hope is used for the good of you each and every day. And that is the other major point of what helped me, and that was my purpose. And that purpose, I'm looking at it. It's not the stage. It's not a microphone. I don't like this. When Jason and them called me to come do this, I almost threw up. Almost threw up back there. I told somebody, I think I was going to throw up. My purpose is you. So if you're here today, my flight leaves at 4:30-ish. I'm going to hang out there during lunch. If you need to talk, come talk. If you need to talk to somebody, come talk to somebody. There's people around here. What's your story? And how can you use it, even if it's still, and it is still being written? Because this story is still being written. And I might find myself tomorrow needing you. Because it ain't a one-way street, it's a two-way street. The same people who we get to help now, we get to help, and they still are the ones who help me a lot of times. So, what's your story? How can you be the catalyst for action? And that's what I want. Authenticity, real life. This is real life. I don't care what rank you are. I don't care what uniform. I don't care. And y'all can't get on to me because I'm not in the military. I guess y'all never asked me back, but I don't care. I ain't worried about this. I'm worried about what's on the inside. That's where life change happens. And I thank God himself that I get to be a part of the culture that we want to create, where you are storm chasing, storm charging influencers who are out there actively making a difference. Never doubt what a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world, because it's the only thing that ever has. And there's 300 or 400 of you sitting in this room. The world can radically be different by you.